This film starts by showing a remote village in the middle of the forest, where a gang of arms traffickers led by Mr. Ma is hiding. At that time, Mr. Ma is preparing to meet the biggest drug lord in Southeast Asia, named Mr. Kun, who will come to his headquarters. The two gangsters plan to exchange drugs and weapons. However, Mr. Ma has other plans and wants to defeat Mr. Kun in his territory. Soon after, Mr. Kun arrives at Mr. Ma's headquarters with 3 cars filled with his trained troops, carrying drugs to exchange for Mr. Ma's weapons. Some special anti-narcotics police forces are also there, aiming to arrest the 2 biggest gangsters in the country after getting information about their transaction in the Changbai forest. When Mr. Ma learns that Mr. Kun has arrived at his base, he attacks them fiercely. Then, a battle breaks out among the 3 parties in the forest. Meanwhile, a man named Song End, who is the middleman for the transaction between the 2 gangsters, grabs the drug package from Mr. Kun's car and tries to save Mr. Kun, who is surrounded by the police. At that time, Mr. Ma was very angry because Song End had betrayed him. Then, he ordered all his men to chase them. There, Captain Ji saw them running away and chased after them with Su Qian. Mr. Ma caught up with them and prepared to shoot Mr. Kun and Song End. But Mr. Kun was faster and shot Mr. Ma first, making him fall. Song End then hit Mr. Ma, and he died. Soon after, Captain Ji and Su Qian also caught up with them. There, Su Qian tried to get into the car to catch Mr. Kun. They fought, but Mr. Kun was much stronger. He fired an RPG at the car, causing it to flip over, but Captain Ji and Su Qian were not killed. Shortly after, Mr. Kun finally arrived at his headquarters. He was a little suspicious of Song End, who was the middleman between the 2 gangs. Turns out, Song End was Mr. Ma's subordinate, and Mr. Kun was curious about why Song End betrayed his boss. There, Song End explained that his boss had betrayed him first. Before the deal started, his boss hurt him and broke his promise to give him a cash bonus. Song End didn't want to work for someone like that anymore, so he chose to betray his former boss. However, one of Mr. Kun's men, Zaka, didn't trust Song End completely. He thought Song End might be a spy from the police. But Mr. Kun's daughter, Mina, seemed to like Song End. At that time, Mina convinced her father to trust the person who saved him, saying that loyalty would follow. After thinking it over, Mr. Kun invited Song End to join his group. There, Mr. Kun promised to give Song End everything if he worked well. Meanwhile, Captain Ji had a meeting with his team after attacking the gangsters in the Changbai forest. There, he praised his team for stopping the gangster deal, even though Mr. Kun got away. At that moment, Captain Ji was surprised to see Song End there. It turned out that Song End used to be a police officer like them. But Captain Ji reminded everyone that they must follow the law, even if Song End was once their friend. If Song End breaks the law, they must treat him like any other criminal. Meanwhile, Su Qian was very sad after seeing Song End, who is now a criminal. Song End was fired from the police for taking bribes from Mr. Ma's gang, and no one had seen him since. Previously, Captain Ji saw Su Qian running in the rain and tried to stop her. He knew Su Qian liked Song End, but he told her to forget him because Song End was now their enemy, working with a big drug lord. What Captain Ji and the others didn't know was that their chief, Tito, had secretly assigned Song End to go undercover. At that time, Tito gave Song End a dangerous mission to pretend to be a gangster to gather information. Only Tito knew about this mission to keep it safe. Tito was worried that Song End might not follow the plan because of his past. He hoped Song End could find important information while undercover and help catch other gangsters. Mr. Kun was known to work with Van Yao, a big illegal arms dealer wanted by the police worldwide. According to the information that Tito received, the gangsters are planning another deal. They don't know when it will happen, but it's very important. Even though it's hard and dangerous, Song End has to pretend to be one of Mr. Kun's men to help catch Mr. Kun and Van Yao. The next day, Mina is seen making breakfast for Song End. Zaka, who saw this, was not happy because he felt Mina had never made breakfast for him. Zaka also thinks that Song End might be a police spy. Upon hearing that, Mr. Kun agreed with Zaka and decided to give Song End a test to prove his loyalty and skills, and Mina would supervise him. Meanwhile, Su Qian remembered the past when she and Song End were training together in the police force. Once, Su Qian almost fell into a ravine, but Song End saw her in danger and quickly helped her without worrying about his own safety. Fortunately, Su Qian was saved, but Song In ended up falling into the ravine. While she was being treated at the hospital, Su Qian kept an eye on Song In's health. At that time, she always stayed with Song In when she wasn't on duty with the police. But there, Song In felt a bit embarrassed because Su Qian cared so much about him and worried others might notice their closeness. Soon after, Su Qian gave Song In a special digital watch. The watch had a GPS button that he could press if he ever got lost in the forest or mountains, and Su Qian would be able to find him. The scene changes to Zaka, who is now in a nightclub with his gang, singing karaoke and drinking with the karaoke guides. There, Zaka is willing to spend a lot of money as long as the guides do what he wants. So, Zaka likes women who dress in a sexy way. At that time, he got very angry with one of the karaoke guides who tricked him with her looks. There, he hit the woman until she fainted and told the club manager to find another guide if he didn't want Zaka to destroy the place. The manager agreed to Zaka's request and quickly looked for another karaoke guide. However, the manager then called the police to report the trouble and mentioned that the man causing problems matched the description of the drug dealer they were looking for. Meanwhile, Su Qian overheard a conversation and quickly went to the nightclub with some of her team. When they arrived, Su Qian tried to search the people there and asked for their IDs. But Zaka decided to run away because he knew he was wanted by the police. After escaping from the nightclub, Zaka went to his girlfriend, Shishir, to hide and treat the wound from Su Qian's bullet. After that, they spent time together. Elsewhere, Captain Ji was very angry because his team acted without a warrant. Their actions were not legal, not organized, and caused injuries to some of their colleagues. This could ruin their whole plan to catch the drug lord, Mr. Kun. As a punishment, Captain Ji suspended Su Qian for 5 days because she led the team to act without a plan. As the day goes by, the police became stricter in their search for the criminals. They checked every car at the borders. At that time, Shishir was also checked and felt worried because Zaka was hiding under the vegetable she was carrying. When Mina arrived at Mr. Kun's headquarters, she was very angry with Zaka for leaving without thinking about the dangerous situation. She said it was risky for everyone, especially since her father had just escaped from the police a few days ago. Meanwhile, Song In saw Shishir and remembered trying to catch her 3 years ago when she was dealing drugs. He tried to change the subject so no one would recognize him. But it was no use. Shishir recognized Song In as the police officer who had tried to arrest her. This shocked everyone, including Mr. Kun, who began to doubt Song In. However, Song In quickly explained that he used to be a police officer but now worked for Mr. Ma. He claimed he didn't want anyone else selling drugs in his area. Now, Song In said, he had left the police and was a fugitive, working for Mr. Kun. But there, Mr. Kun, hearing this, tried to calm everyone down, saying it was just a misunderstanding. He then spoke privately with Zaka and apologized for Mina's attitude. He explained that Mina didn't mean to insult him, cause she was just worried about their safety. Zaka understood and accepted the apology. He mentioned that he didn't expect the police to show up at the nightclub, but he was glad he managed to escape. Hearing this, Mr. Kun said that when he was about to make a deal with Mr. Ma, a female police officer tried to arrest him. Her fighting and shooting skills were just like Mina's. At that time, Mr. Kun thought that policewoman might be the same one who tried to arrest him. If he was right, the police might have found Zaka because of her. Mr. Kun also suspected Song In of being a spy, but he was confused because Song In had tried to save him in the forest. Soon after, Mr. Kun decided he needed to find out the truth. Mr. Kun then met with Song In and asked if he remembered the policewoman who attacked him in the forest. Song In said he remembered clearly because they used to work together in the police. Mr. Kun then ordered Song In to kill her, and he agreed to do it. After getting a message from Song In, Su Qian went to the forest to meet him. But when she got there, she found out that Song In, Zaka, and Mina were planning to kill her. There, Su Qian asked why Song In was doing this. Song In said he had been a police officer for many years, but he made more money as a drug dealer. With the money Song In has, he can buy a luxury house, a fancy car, and be with beautiful women. If Su Qian couldn't accept that, Song In invited her to try and stop him. Song In then pretended to strangle Su Qian until she passed out. It was a technique he learned in the police to make Zaka and Mina believe he had truly left the police. There, Zaka took a photo of Su Qian to show his boss, making it seem like Song In had killed her. but Mr. Kun still had some doubts about Song Ind. Meanwhile, Captain Ji found Su Qian unconscious in the forest. There, Su Qian explained that Song Ind had used a jujitsu technique they learned in police training to strangle her. She believed Song Ind wasn't really a criminal, but she was confused about his actions. The next day, Mr. Kun was celebrating Mina's birthday with his men. He told everyone to eat, drink, and get drunk. At that time, Mina got very drunk, and Song Ind carried her to her room. While she was delirious, Mina confessed that she loved Song Ind and wanted to marry him. She believed her father would approve, and they would be a happy family. On the other hand, Song Ind remembered when he was a child and saw his father killed by Mr. Kun. His real goal was to get revenge, but he had to put his personal feelings aside for his mission, even though it was very hard for him. The next day, Mr. Kun gave Song Ind a special assignment. He had to check the conditions for their upcoming deal with Van Yao, a dangerous weapons dealer wanted by police worldwide. The deal would happen at a brick factory. There, Mr. Kun told Song Ind to make sure everything was safe, so nothing went wrong. Like when he dealt with Mr. Ma, Mr. Kun also promised that if the deal went well, he would help Song Ind marry Mina. So, Song Ind had to do his job well. After checking out the brick factory, Song Ind and Mina went to a restaurant to eat. Soon after, Song Ind excused himself to go to the toilet, but his real aim was to send a message to Tito about the upcoming big deal. Meanwhile, Mina, suspicious of Song Ind, followed him but didn't find anything in the toilet. On the other hand, Tito, after receiving Song Ind's message, ordered his men to get ready to raid the brick factory and catch Mr. Kun and Van Yao. Meanwhile, Mr. Kun and his men were getting ready to go to their meeting with Van Yao. Before they left, Zaka asked everyone, including Song Ind, to hand over their cell phones because today's meeting was very important. He didn't want any mistakes like before. At that time, Song Ind felt suspicious, especially when Mr. Kun asked him to bring a car for the trip. His suspicions grew stronger when the destination changed from the brick factory to somewhere else. The scene changes to Mr. Kun arriving at the edge of a forest where the meeting was set to take place. Song Ind knew his mission would be completed once Van Yao arrived. At that moment, Song Ind worried that his cover might be blown. To be safe, he used the special watch Su Qian had given him to send his location to her. Meanwhile, the police arrived at the brick factory but didn't find Mr. Kun or Van Yao. Shortly after, Captain Ji reported this to Tito, and then Su Qian shared important news that the meeting had moved to the western mountain forest. At that moment, Mr. Kun and Van Yao finally met after several years. There, he assured Van Yao that the location was very safe and that no police would find them because he had tricked an undercover policeman. On the other hand, Song Ind's secret was discovered, and Mr. Kun realized that Song Ind was actually a police officer pretending to be his helper. Then, Mr. Kun remembered that 20 years ago, Song Ind's father had also gone undercover and was killed in front of him. At that time, he thought that Song Ind would meet the same fate as his father. Just when Song Ind was in big trouble, Captain Ji arrived in time to save him and shot Mr. Kun's men. The special anti-narcotics police also arrived and arrested everyone. Soon after, Van Yao, Zaka, and Mina were all caught by Su Qian and Captain Ji. Then, Song Ind chased after Mr. Kun, who tried to escape into the forest. Before the scene ends, Song Ind, now back as a police officer, receives an award and a promotion for successfully completing his mission and getting his revenge. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is never trust someone who asks for your phone before a big meeting. Also, fancy watches can save your life, so always wear one.